from the United States of America. In ones that were participating, they've been instructed or they've been withdrawn from participating within the G20. So they will not be speaking now. It will be Brazil and South Africa. So the Troika misses one member, but we will hear as time proceeds what happens. But for today, the US is not participating. It will just be Brazil and South Africa. Where's Brazil? Where's Brazil? Where's Brazil? I would like to invite the chair of the working group from Brazil, the Federation of the Republic of Brazil, to give us the opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Morning. Senhora Sindisiwe Chikunga, Ministra das Mulheres, Juventude e Pessoas com Deficiências da África do Sul.
Sindisiwe Chikunga, Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities of South Africa.
Senhora Mikateto Maluleke, Diretora-Geral do Departamento de Mulheres, Juventude e Pessoas com Deficiência da África do Sul e Chair nesse grupo de trabalho.
Ms. Mikateto Maluleke, Director General of the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities of South Africa and Chair of this working group.
Chefes de delegação dos países membros do G20, dos países convidados e organismos internacionais convidados.
Heads of delegations from G20 member countries, invited international organizations.
Delegadas e delegados, é uma satisfação ser recebida na África do Sul de forma tão calorosa e poder rever pessoas que ajudaram na construção desse grupo de trabalho em seu primeiro ano de funcionamento durante a presidência brasileira do G20.
Delegates, it's a pleasure to be received so warmly in South Africa and to see again the people who helped build this working group in its first year of operation during the Brazilian G20 presidency.
Tivemos, em 2024, um ano intenso de trabalho e de negociações complexas, em que pudemos avançar coletivamente na discussão de 3 temas muito importantes: a autonomia econômica das mulheres e a economia do cuidado, a misoginia e a violência de gênero e ação climática.
In 2024, we had an intense year of work and complex negotiations in which we were able to collectively advance the discussion of 3 very important topics: the economic autonomy of women and the care economy, misogyny and gender-based violence, and gender and climate action.
Aqui estamos novamente reunidas para avançarmos na construção de um mundo com igualdade de gênero.
Here we are gathered again to advance the construction of a world with gender equality.
O que vivenciamos em 2024 sobre a presidência brasileira do G20 foi uma jornada de enfrentamentos necessários, de negociações que desafiaram estruturas de poder e de conquistas que, diante da magnitude dos desafios, abriram caminho que nos esforçamos para que não sejam fechados.
What we experienced in 2024 under the Brazilian G20 presidency was a journey of necessary confrontations, of negotiations that challenge power structures, and of achievements that, given the magnitude of the challenges, open paths that we strive to keep from being closed.
Quando colocamos no centro do debate a autonomia econômica das mulheres, no grupo das 20 maiores economias do mundo, é preciso destacarmos que não só as mulheres precisam ser incluídas na economia, como a economia precisa ser das mulheres para ser solidária, equitativa e sustentável. Estávamos também reconhecendo o valor inestimável e ainda invisibilizado do trabalho de cuidado que sustenta nossas sociedades e economias, realizado majoritariamente por mulheres sem a devida remuneração ou reconhecimento. Quando enfrentamos a misoginia e a violência de gênero, confrontamos não apenas estatísticas alarmantes, mas sistemas de opressão historicamente arraigados e, ao vincularmos gênero e ação climática, estabelecemos claramente que não existe justiça climática sem justiça de gênero.
When we place the economic autonomy of women at the center of the debate in the group of the 20 largest economies in the world, it is necessary to highlight that not only do women need to be included in the economy, but the economy needs women to achieve solidarity, be equitable and sustainable. We were also recognizing the invaluable and still rendered invisible value of care work that sustains our societies and economies, carried out mostly by women without due remuneration or recognition. When we confront misogyny and gender-based violence, we confront not only alarming statistics, but historically ingrained systems of oppression. And by linking gender and climate action, we clearly establish that there is no climate justice without gender justice.
Quero destacar que, para além das prioridades estabelecidas dentro do Grupo de Trabalho de Empoderamento das Mulheres, enquanto presidência, construímos o debate de gênero de forma transversal junto aos 14 grupos de trabalho, 2 forças-tarefas e os grupos de engajamento. Assim, fizemos um encontro com a trilha de finanças, incluímos nas discussões das iniciativas de bioeconomia e promoção da igualdade de gênero, e também nos princípios da transição energética às mulheres. São pontos que destacamos na cartilha que estamos compartilhando hoje com vocês.
I want to highlight that beyond the priorities established within the Empowerment of Women Working Group, as Presidency, we mainstream the gender debate with the other 14 working groups, 2 task forces, and the engagement groups. Thus, we had a meeting with the finance track. We included the promotion of gender equality in the discussions of the bioeconomy initiative and also in the principles of energy transition. These are points that we highlight in the booklet that we are sharing with you today.
Quero destacar ainda os esforços na construção da Aliança Global de Combate à Fome e à Pobreza, que já conta com a adesão de mais de 90 países e está em fase de implementação de seu secretariado. No centro da proposta da Aliança está a cooperação entre países e instituições para a promoção de uma cesta básica de políticas públicas de combate à fome e à pobreza, cujos programas podem ser direcionados às mulheres, a exemplo do que ocorre no Brasil.
I also want to highlight the efforts in building the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, which was already joined by more than 90 countries and is in the implementation phase of its secretariat. At the center of the Alliance's proposal is cooperation between countries and institutions to promote a basic basket of public policies to combat hunger and poverty, whose programs can be directed towards women, as is the case in Brazil.
Esse primeiro encontro presencial em 2025 representa mais que um momento protocolar. É um ato político de continuidade e aprofundamento.
This first face-to-face meeting in 2025 represents more than a protocolary moment. It is a political act of continuity and deepening.
A decisão da África do Sul de priorizar a economia do cuidado em sua complexidade e a inclusão financeira como vetor de empoderamento e o combate à violência baseada em gênero representam um compromisso com os trabalhos realizados no primeiro ano do grupo de trabalho, com profundo potencial transformador. Esta abordagem estratégica responde diretamente às necessidades mais urgentes das mulheres em sua diversidade, das periferias urbanas às comunidades rurais, das meninas às idosas, e especialmente aquelas que enfrentam múltiplas formas de discriminação.
South Africa's decision to prioritize the care economy in its complexity and financial inclusion as a driver of empowerment and the fight against gender-based violence represent a commitment to the work carried out in the first year of the working group with profound transformative potential. This strategic approach directly responds to the most urgent needs of women in their diversity, from urban peripheries to rural communities, from girls to elderly women, and especially those who face multiple forms of discrimination.
O Brasil, como parte da Troika e como país que carrega em sua história recente feridas de autoritarismo e retrocessos, mas também exemplo de resistência das mulheres, reafirma seu compromisso inabalável com esta agenda. Estamos aqui para amplificar vozes e para defender que não há desenvolvimento sustentável possível enquanto metade da humanidade permanecer em situações de subordinação.
Brazil, as part of the Troika and as a country that carries in its recent history wounds of authoritarianism and setbacks, but also examples of women resistance, reaffirms its unwavering commitment to this agenda. We are here to amplify voices and to defend that there is no sustainable development possible while half of humanity remains in a situation of subordination.
É importante recordarmos que a Declaração de Líderes do Rio de Janeiro reflete as discussões que já mantivemos nesse grupo de trabalho. Nossos chefes de Estado e de governo não apenas reafirmaram o compromisso com a igualdade de gênero e encorajaram o desenvolvimento liderado por mulheres, mas também reconhecem os desafios específicos que mulheres e meninas enfrentam globalmente. Cabe a nós, como representantes governamentais desse grupo de trabalho, a responsabilidade de dar seguimento a esses compromissos de alto nível, traduzindo-os em ações tangíveis e resultados mensuráveis.
It is important to remember that the Rio de Janeiro Leaders' Declaration reflects the discussions we have already had in this working group. Our heads of state and government not only reaffirmed their commitment to gender equality and encourage women-led development, but also recognize the specific challenges that women and girls face globally. It is up to us as governmental representatives in this working group the responsibility to follow up on these high-level commitments, translating them into tangible actions and measurable results.
O momento histórico que vivemos, marcados por crises múltiplas, retrocessos democráticos e ameaças climáticas, torna nosso trabalho importante, urgente e inegociável. As mulheres devem estar no centro de qualquer solução verdadeiramente eficaz para os desafios da humanidade. Nossos governos precisam se posicionar politicamente de forma muito clara pela igualdade.
The historical moment we are living in, marked by multiple crises, democratic setbacks, and climate threats, makes our work important, urgent, and non-negotiable. Women must be at the center of any truly effective solution to humanity's challenges. Our governments need to take a very clear political stand for equality.
O Brasil, que teve a honra de inaugurar esse grupo de trabalho, reafirma seu compromisso com a construção coletiva de um mundo onde o gênero não determine oportunidades, direitos ou liberdades. Estamos prontas para seguir esta jornada ao lado da África do Sul, compartilhando experiências, somando saberes e, acima de tudo, transformando indignação em ações concretas. Contem conosco nessa jornada.
Brazil, which had the honor of inaugurating this working group, reaffirms its commitment to the collective construction of a world where gender does not determine opportunities, rights, or freedoms. We are ready to follow this journey alongside with South Africa, sharing experiences, adding knowledge, and above all, transforming indignation into concrete actions. Count on us on this journey.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, the Troika from South Africa will present its statement. Honorable Sindisiwe Chikunga, Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Honorable Mapaseka Steve Litsike, Deputy Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Ms. Maria Helena Guarezi, Executive Secretary of the Ministry of Women, Federation of Republic of Brazil. G20 members, guest countries, and international organizations and partners. chairpersons of the working group, of the G20 working groups within South Africa, presenters from various organizations and institutions, ladies and gentlemen, I am indeed delighted to welcome you all to the G20 second technical meeting of the working group for the empowerment of women. It is an honor to receive all of you physically in South Africa, and I welcome all of you most heartily to our country. And at this moment, let me take the opportunity to indicate that Mexico sent its country statement that we will read tomorrow. When we read the country statements, they indicated that they were not able to come. So we will read their statement when other countries are reading their statements. I hope that all of you were well received from the moment you touched down on the African soil, and that you have been graciously treated so far. We are really proud to be hosting the working group for women's empowerment as the South African G20 presidency, as well as for the first time hosting the G20 on the African soil. This momentous occasion marks an important milestone in our country's history, but it also marks a milestone for the G20 community itself, in that this year is only the second year of the working group for empowerment of women. Having been successfully inaugurated under the 2024 Brazilian presidency, for which we sincerely thank the Federation of the Republic of Brazil. In doing so, we must also thank the 2023 Indian presidency for ideating and conceptualizing the working group for women's empowerment. An historic decision adopted by the G20 New Delhi Leaders Summit in November 2023. We sincerely thank India for having taken this bold step so that women's issues are taken further than being a discourse mainly in the engagement groups to one where it has been elevated to a ministerial level. This is indeed a very critical and strategic move if we are to position women at the center of development, in that if there is political and governance buy-in, it can be more easily resourced and achieved when driven at the governmental level. As we convene today, we recognize that the empowerment of women is not only a moral imperative, but also a strategic necessity for achieving sustainable development, economic growth, and social justice. Honorable delegates, you will recall that in the first technical meeting hosted virtually in February this year, South Africa presented on its issue paper under the South African G20 presidency theme of solidarity, equality, sustainability. And we outlined our three key priorities areas for the working group on women empowerment, which are policy perspectives on the care economy, both paid and unpaid care work and household responsibilities. The second one being promoting financial inclusion of and for women. The third one being addressing gender-based violence and femicide, focusing mostly on positive masculinity. All G20 members supported the focus of the working group on these three priorities, stating their importance in the achievement of gender equality and women's empowerment. It was also during this meeting that some G20 members raised specific issues that South Africa, as the chair, needed to take under consideration. These issues included the following. Some member countries and guest countries raised the issue of the inclusion of W20 and G20, Women Empower, in the Empowerment of Women Working Group. Some G20 members noted the cross-cutting nature of the EWWG with the other working groups as well as the task forces. The progress made by member states in implementing the Brisbane 25 by 25 goal, also to provide a conceptual framework on positive masculinities. I'm happy to state that we have tried to address all the issues raised as far as is possible. We have taken all these issues identified by you under careful consideration, and you will notice that the program for these next 2 days actually covers how we're attempting to address the issues that you've raised. We have engaged with the Employment Working Group and participated in their second working group meeting held on the 8th to the 11th of April 2025 in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. Based on their priorities focusing on women and labor force participation, we have subsequently invited the Employment Working Group to make a presentation to yourselves today. Indeed, there are cross-cutting issues related to women which are also appearing in other working groups. In that regard, we have invited all chairs of the working groups and task forces to present in this meeting, outlining their priority focus areas and identify issues of a cross-cutting nature. The intention going forward is to avoid duplication and work cohesively on overlapping areas. On the issue of the progress made on implementing the Brisbane goal, we have been engaging with the ILO and OECD colleagues who have presented briefly on the 2023 findings on their research. In responding to this matter, we have engaged with some of the international knowledge partners, and we will be taking presentations in our third meeting on the findings of the 2024 research study in July 2025 in Mpumalanga, a beautiful province, you'll love it. South Africa will also be hosting a site event on positive masculinities during its fourth working group session. And in this session, on a two-day meeting, we will host 2 days, a conference on positive masculinity, where we will be presenting the draft concept paper for engagement with different international and national bodies. Honorable delegates, our leaders over the past few years recognize that all women and girls face particular barriers because of various factors, such as lack of access to healthcare, education, career development, equal pay, and leadership opportunities. They further acknowledge that gender-based violence, including sexual violence against women and girls, is alarmingly high across public and private spheres. In this regard, our second technical meeting will also look at the issue of women's leadership. While we consider the issue of equal pay for work of equal value in the next meeting in July. Likewise, with the work started on gender mainstreaming, we intend to carry this forward. Honorable delegates, as South Africa, we will be putting forward a draft ministerial declaration for consideration by your good selves. This has been initiated in this program itself, together with a roadmap for the way forward in this regard. As I will welcome all of you, I encourage you to engage in robust discussions, ask tough questions, and share your insights throughout this meeting. Let us work together to create a transformative agenda that empowers women and promotes gender equality. I thank you all. Thank you very much. As I had indicated that we will not waste time, I'm not going to say much. I just want to hand over to Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga, Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, to make the opening remarks. I would like to indicate to the members that we know that the technical meeting is a closed meeting. The media is just here to capture the minister. As soon as the minister finishes speaking, they are going to excuse us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the meeting, who also is our Director General of the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, Advocate Maluleke, Deputy Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities in the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Steve Litsike, Troika member states, especially Brazil, South Africa, as well as USA, distinguished representatives from the G20 member states, distinguished representatives from guest countries, United Nations women country representatives, Representative Aleta Miller-Miss, our esteemed partners, including UN agencies, the Institute for Economic Justice, the University of Cape Town, Tshwane University of Technology, the Banking Association of South Africa, the African Development Bank, AU, World Health Organization, EU, ILO representatives, diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I am deeply honored on behalf of our government to welcome you all to the beautiful Northwest Province, our host for the second technical meeting of the G20 Empowerment of Women Working Group. We express our sincere gratitude to each and every one of you who has traveled from far and near to contribute to yet another important step toward what promises to be a vibrant and a memorable G20 working group. I also wish to greet the members of the Troika and once again extend our appreciation to Brazil and India for laying such a strong foundation for the world to reimagine the empowerment of women as a comprehensive, far-reaching, people-centered, and developmental imperative. Following our initial meeting that took place virtually, we are truly excited to officially welcome within our shores and in person our distinguished representatives from the G20 member states, our invited guest countries, and our valued partners. We are eager to share with you our country's warm atmosphere, our people's hospitality, and our rich heritage. Chairperson, the Northwest Province, nicknamed the Platinum Province, stands out globally for its exceptional mineral wealth, resilient agricultural value chains, and world-class tourist destinations. Mining is responsible for more than a third of the province's GDP, making it a dominant economic sector in this part of the country. Northwest produces 94% of South Africa's platinum and is responsible for a remarkable 50% of the world's platinum production. This makes the province the country and the region strategically critical to global industrial supply chains, especially as demand for platinum group metals continue to grow in the automotive, electronics, and alternative energy sectors. The province's mineral wealth extends beyond platinum. It produces 46% of South Africa's granite and over 25% of the country's gold. Diamonds are mined at Lichtenberg, Costa, Christiana, and Bloemhof. Importantly, the Northwest Province is aligned with the western limb of the Bushveld Complex, a remarkably rich mineral formation that contains the world's largest reserves. This geological advantage alone positions the province and its people as a critical player in global mineral supply chains. Beyond mining, agriculture and agro-processing forms another important pillar of the provincial economy. The province produces about 1/3 of South African maize, and its western parts are renowned for cattle ranching and game farming. As you will experience for yourself and yourselves, Northwest Province offers world-class tourism attraction that constitute another major pillar of the provincial economy. I do hope that in between your official duties, you will find time to experience this for yourselves. The province is actively developing several industrial initiatives that present opportunities for both domestic and foreign direct investment. These include the Bojanala Platinum Special Economic Zone, located here in Bojanala, our host municipality. Program directors, the essence of us profiling the Northwest Province in this manner is to illustrate how, through mining and beneficiation, agriculture and agro-processing, and world-class tourism, the province brings together three catalytic sectors whose development has direct implication to the economy of the country, the region, the continent, and the world. This should undoubtedly inform some of our deliberations at the technical meeting, especially when it comes to the theme of financial inclusion as a catalyst for women economic empowerment. At this point, I would like to remind colleagues about our G20 presidency theme and working group priorities. South Africa has assumed the G20 presidency under the theme Solidarity, Equality, and Sustainability, a theme that reflects South Africa's commitment to building on the efforts and successes of previous G20 presidencies while advancing the Sustainable Development Agenda. The collective essence of solidarity, equality, and sustainability aligns with the values enshrined in our Constitution, a cornerstone of our constitutional democracy that not only guides South Africa's internal affairs, but also shapes how we engage with the rest of the world. This theme further underscores our commitment to making this a G20 presidency of the African continent, positioning Africa's increasingly catalytic role at the forefront of global well-being. Solidarity underscores our vision for a people-centered, development-oriented, and inclusive future. Equality represents our commitment to a collective, just, equitable, and humane future for all. Sustainability reflects our commitment to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. This theme has also informed three-level deliverables of South Africa's G20 presidency that will guide our industrialization, employment and reducing inequality, food security, as well as artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation for sustainable development. During our February 2025 technical meeting, we presented the rationale behind our proposed key priorities for the empowerment of women working group, and our chairperson has actually covered this. These are policy perspectives on the care economy, paid and unpaid care work and household responsibilities, promoting financial inclusion of and for women, and addressing gender-based violence and femicide. The meeting, I was also informed that it was a huge success. We are really pleased by the extent of alignment and overwhelming support that these priorities received from the fellow G20 member states, our invited guest countries, as well as our partners. Program Director, with regard to financial inclusion, we're also meeting at the tail end of what has been an incredible, productive, and insightful conference on approaches and best practices to financial inclusion as a catalyst for women economic empowerment. Over the past 2 days, delegates from across the G20 family of nations, academia, private and public sector partners, and civil society came together at this very venue to engage on various domains of financial inclusion. These included themes such as economic decision-making and policy leadership, women's access to land and related productive assets, the removal of trade barriers that disproportionately affect women in cross-border trade policies, progressive fiscal reforms, and the long overdue overhaul of the global financial architecture. We are looking forward to turning the recommendations of that conference into tangible and concrete measures that ensure that the next 30 years are better than the past 30 years. With regard to the care economy, I'm really pleased that some of the first panel will be looking deeply at the significance of the care economy, a pillar of our economy that remains foundational to both the current and future well-being of any. The very idea of the care economy helps us foreground well-being ahead of growth that is neither inclusive nor sustainable. For as long as those at the bottom of the ladder, who are mostly women, are in the margins, there is no economy that will grow. Research shows that women globally spend 2 to 10 times more hours than men on unpaid care work, which significantly limits their ability to pursue paid employment, education, and leadership opportunities. This unpaid labor was valued at approximately $10.8 trillion annually before the COVID-19 pandemic. Professional care like childcare and nursing is still predominantly performed by women, but these essential jobs often offer low wages and limited benefits despite requiring significant skills and emotional labor. Countries with stronger care infrastructure, including affordable childcare and paid family leave, consistently show higher rates of women's workforce participation. For example, in Sweden, where there is universal childcare, women's labor force participation exceeds 80%. The recent World Economic Forum published an article titled, "Why Caring About the Care Economy is Key to Growth and Well-Being." In this article, the forum correctly argues the care economy not only sustains human activity for current and future generations, but also safeguards the right to both care and receive care. Unpaid care work, if compensated, would represent 9% of global GDP, yet the social and economic value of the care economy remains mostly invisible. I'm also pleased that some of the breakaway meetings will be responding to the issue of food insecurity, which remains prevalent in our context. I do, however, hope that you will take a holistic view of food security. I wish to emphasize that food security, when viewed through a reparative justice lens, encompasses not just the immediate availability of food, but the restoration of historically marginalized communities and their sovereignty over their food systems. We are only food secure when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and cultural preferences, while acknowledging and addressing historical injustices that have created current food inequalities. The latter part of this definition is crucial because as Africans, we're not always food insecure. We are responding to a man-made challenge. As colleagues will remember, Chairperson, shortly after our February meeting, South Africa joined the global community in recognizing the convening of the 69th session of the Commission on the Status of Women as a historic milestone and a giant leap forward in the global movement for gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. We congratulate the global community on the unanimous adoption of the political declaration. CSW 69 reminded the world in no uncertain terms that gender equality and the from sustainable development and from fulfilling our pledge to leave no one behind. The unanimously adopted CSW resolution stands shoulder to shoulder with the 2024 Rio de Janeiro Leaders Declaration, where our leaders did not only celebrate the inaugural convening of this very working group, but also resolved as follows, and I quote, "We reaffirm our full commitment to gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. We encourage women-led development and will promote the full, equal, effective, and meaningful participation and leadership of women in all sectors and at all levels of the economy, which is crucial to the growth of global GDP. Acknowledging that gender-based violence, including sexual violence against women and girls, is alarmingly high across public and private spheres, and we condemn every form of discrimination against women and girls and recall our commitment to end gender-based violence, including sexual violence, and combat misogyny online and offline. We commit to promoting gender equality in paid and unpaid care work to ensure equal, full, and meaningful participation of women in this economy by promoting social and gender core responsibility, encouraging and facilitating men's and boys', unquote. Program Director, we have quite an extensive agenda ahead of us. This technical meeting will receive a range of presentations covering key themes aligned with the priorities of the working group. These will include policy perspectives on the care economy, both paid and unpaid care work, as well as household and domestic responsibilities, resourcing gender-based violence and femicide initiatives for a safer tomorrow, gender equality in the workplace, and a report back from the Conference on Global Innovative Strategies and Best Practices on Financial Inclusion for and of Women. I'm confident that our discussions here will form the foundation of a comprehensive ministerial declaration, one that should stand the test of time, one that generations will point to with pride. I'm confident that together, through our shared vision and unwavering determination, we will generate transformative outcomes that resonate far beyond this room. I look forward to the outcomes of this meeting, as well as the upcoming third technical working group scheduled for July this year in Mpumalanga province, my province. I hope to see all of you in that meeting. It's a warm province where the sun rises, and that is Mpumalanga. We do look forward to your robust participation towards a firm proposal to the ministerial meeting we will host in October 2025. Once again, thank you very much for your active participation and look forward to engagement. God bless you all, and I thank you very much.
Should I continue now? Thank you very much, Minister. Meanwhile, Minister is sitting down. We will request all media to excuse us. Thank you. Thank you for your support, media team. Thanks.